Today we're looking at the TEFIFON. What did you say? That's right, it's the TEFIFON. It comes from the 1950s. It's German. There's probably not many of them in this country. It's a bit of an oddball thing, but I like oddball, so let's see if we can get it working. Right, so we're taking these two screws out. So let's lift this up and see there, little gauge. And here is the workings. So what happens is, I'm not going to go into too much detail. If you want to really know about these, Techmoan does a brilliant video on this. I'll put the links in the description below. He goes into far more detail and far more succinctly than I could ever do, so go and watch that. But the very basics: you put the TEFI on here. A TEFIFON plays a TEFI. It's a bit like an 8-track cartridge in as much as it's a continuous loop tape, but rather than being moving magnetic tape, it's grooved like a record, and it goes round here, and there is the needle. Which should go up and down, but it isn't. Oh, I see. That looks like that is broken somewhere. That wire is barely hanging on, so that's going to need looking at. Some sort of solenoid there, but it looks of it. Okay. Right, well, let's delve a bit deeper. So first thing we notice is there is a wire back there that goes to that, which is very tight and won't allow this to lift up. So let's see if we can do something about that. Okay, so with that wire just snipped off there, what else have we got? Well, that is where the remote plugs in, which I believe operates that solenoid, which causes this to jump up and down. I don't have that remote, so that's not really, oh pardon me, that's not really an issue at the moment. As you can see, this just basically sits on top of these springs with these little plastic retainer things on top. Let's just take them off so I don't lose them. But inside there's not an awful lot, so that goes there. That one is, that's your power lead, and that one is your audio output lead. So a big old flywheel here. Big red belt of some description that maybe is perhaps a little bit perished, but doesn't look too bad. Certainly good enough for now. That looks okay. Oh, that all sounds a bit, oh dear, dry and nasty. So there's the motor that turns that rubber wheel, which in turn turns this flywheel, which has got the belt going to this drive spool, which sits there, which has got a bit missing, which would go into the TEFI. So not all is lost, because I have a parts one. So, right, now that flywheel then should have a rubber bit on the outside there, which that one doesn't. Which that motor would... so this one is slightly different actually then, no. So on this one you haven't got that rubber wheel separate. This one, there is a rubber bit on the flywheel which turns against that motor, which I think is actually probably a better design, but this one you have a separate flywheel with that additional bit in there. So this is 161511. This is 465846. Kc1 RA. Kc1 TMRU. Okay. So I'm not sure which one is the earlier design. Is that a date there? No, it doesn't look like it. So I can't see any dates anywhere. Because it has to be said, I am tempted to just use this one. This one just generally seems to work better. You see, this one is not allowing that to go up, whereas this one is, although it allows it to go up all the time, it should. You should have to push that in to get it to go up and down, whereas you don't. Oh, yeah. I'm going to have a little ponder as to whether or not, oops, not that you can see that, right, you can see, pull that in, it's a nice damped movement, there you go, pull that in, just slowly goes up against it, but you can see that goes up and down. We should have to push that in to pull it away slightly for it to go up and down. It's going up and down regardless. On the other hand, this one, push that in so that's up against there. That's not going up and down there, but equally when you push it in it's not going up and down. So bit of investigating, I think. Right, well I think I've made up my mind. This one, well, it does sort of work. It is very, very noisy. So I'm not convinced about the motor. You've got an extra bit added into the equation with that. And just the fact that the needle doesn't go up and down as well as it should. This seems to work better. But what I think I am going to try and do, because this one is all wired up, and it would mean unsoldering the remote bit, removing these, taking all the plugs off, pulling all the cables through, feeding, etc, etc. I am just going to see if I can get this one working. If I can't, then I'll just swap them over. But for now, I think I am going to try that one. Which means I need to remove that from this one, put on there. Just give things a bit of a lube and clean up. And give it a go. Right, so the moment of truth. It's plugged in. Turn that on. Oh, it's trying to turn. It's trying to turn. Come on. Getting there. Slowly freeing up. You can see the flywheel down there. Right. So now let's try it. Swap that onto there and try it with a TEFI. Well, change of plan. I've taken the old one off and put the other one on. I just think it works better. You've got the rubber bit on here, which is missing on that one. This whole stylus assembly, that rubber bit there, this whole stylus assembly works better on this one. And it just would have been an absolute ball ache to try and change that on that one, because whereas this one it's easy to get out, on that one the whole motor assembly would have also had to come out to get to it. It's already a little bit broken, so it only goes on one side, so I'll have to sort of glue that. But unfortunately the mains lead's not very long on this one, so I'll have to put a bigger mains lead on. But for now, I'll just put the old Euro plug back on. And let's see how this one works. It's not all wired in properly, it's just put here to see if it will work. So, turn it on. Well, that's a good start, that goes nicely. So, let's get a TEFI, and here is a TEFI. And as you can see, what we do, wind that back to there. You probably don't need to, but I'm going to. That slots on there like so. So you've got a little notch there, which goes there, and that notch on there catches on that inner bit in there. So that goes on there. It's a bit difficult to do one-handed. Hang on. And here is the TEFI tape. I don't know how well it shows up on camera. I think you can just see all the little grooves down there like you'd get on a record. So that goes on there. That goes around there like so. turn it on. You can see it twisting round. So if we then put that there, now obviously I've got no output because it's not plugged into anything, but I want to see if that needle is going down. Here's where a macro lens would be really good. I think that stylus is pretty knackered, if I'm honest. So let's just let that run for a bit and see if it runs down. What we can see, or hopefully see, as I said, this is useless lighting and not a very good position, but I'm restricted by the mains lead. You can see all this debris, that white stuff on the end of the stylus is building up. I'm guessing all that's the crap that's in the grooves of the TEFI, and as you can see it's not running that smoothly at the moment, simply I think because this TEFI has been in one position for so long. It's all sort of bent up a little bit, but we'll keep it going for a little while and see if it all sort of frees up and more importantly whether that stylus actually moves down the TEFI. Watch this space. I don't know if you'll be able to hear it or not. I can just about hear it. I'm not sure if it will come up on here, but like a record, you might just be able to hear the music in the background there. Of course you might not, as I said, I've no idea how well that will come across, but you can just about hear it. Well, it is definitely playing. You can see stylus is moving down the TEFI. You can possibly see, as I said, the lighting is atrocious in here, and the angle isn't very good due to the, you can see the stylus moving down the TEFI. You can also see there that pin is not touching against there, and that's because you have to pull this out, and then that touches against that pin, which pulls that away from the TEFI, and you can move it up and down. You have that bit there which you would see through that window, so you can, they're not track numbers, they're just sort of a, you know, quarter marks through the TEFI. But as I said, this one doesn't have the remote function, but as you saw on this one, you have that solenoid there which would tap, which would tap that, and basically all it does is tap it up or down, so it's not precise, it just taps it up and down. And as I said, I don't have a remote for this, so I'm not worried about moving that across for now. At the moment I just want to see if it works. And it more or less is. Obviously everything needs a damn good clean. And the wiring, some of it looks like it's all coming apart. I love a couple of little details, like that bit there is like a little miniature car shock absorber. That's fantastic. See if I can show you a bit better on this one. See, it's just like a little miniature shock absorber. And on this one it looks like it's started to go a bit, but there's the remote. I said it would pop that way or pop that way, depending on what you're doing, and it would knock that. Obviously I shall keep this one for now. It'll be useful for parts, or if that one has got a problem I can go more in depth and try and get this one working better, but that one seems the better out of the two. Other little things like all it is on there you've got, whereas this one, I think I'll show you, you have the flywheel rubs against this wheel, which rubs against the pin on the motor. On this one, this flywheel just has a rubber ring around that top edge, and the motor itself is sprung loaded to keep tension on that, so you miss out that section there, which is obviously another failure point. Anything that removes failure points to me is good, and I just love the simplicity that that is just sprung loaded motor to push onto that. Great. They are a very, very innovative design really for the mid-50s. I don't know why they didn't catch on more. I guess simply because vinyl was doing much the same thing. And what, a few years later, the Fidelity pack and the 4-track, then the 8-track came out, which was this same basic principle of a continuous loop. Just is a magnetic, moving magnetic tape, like a, you know, well, like you've seen. 8 tracks over there. It's the same basic principle. So basically what you've got there is a combination of their vinyl records and continuous loop tape of the 8 track. So that and that combined makes that. And it does seem to be working well, which, considering I've no idea when this was last used, decades ago I would imagine, just goes to show old engineering. But I'm going to let that run right the way through, and on the basis it all works as it should, I'll put you on a tripod and we'll start to give this a clean up and rewire it. Obviously using better cabling. I'll put a UK plug on it. I'll replace this audio wire cabling for obviously a much longer one. Now this is obviously only mono, so we'll have to fiddle about with a little bit of wiring, but we'll get it working. Now there should be a rubber pad on here. This would sit on. That is missing. I have no idea where I'm going to find one of them. If anybody knows where I can find one, please let me know in the comments below. Failing that, I'll have to try and find something or figure something out. But yeah, we'll just let this keep going, let it run through to the end. I'm not sure. Oh, it's a 60 minute. So there we go. Anyone that reads German, this is what we're currently playing. Operette 1, die Sachen der program configured 1955 spiel CA 60 minutes. Oh, something along them lines. As you can tell, I don't speak German. So anyway, we'll let this run through As I said, it's a 60-minute one. They also did a much smaller one, which was 15 minutes, and a big one which went right up here, which was a 4-hour one. I only have this one 60-minute one at the moment, so if I can get it working, obviously I'll buy some more. As I said, to the what's his name, Matt, thingamajiggy, Techmo, does a brilliant video. There's 2 videos on these. He bought one fully working, which is the sensible thing to do. I obviously am not sensible, and I like a bit of a challenge. So anyway, I'm waffling again, so see how this goes, and then we'll get you on a tripod and we'll start rewiring it. So with that bit working, we've tried to clean these up as best as I can without getting too abrasive. That one's cleaned up okay. That was absolutely filthy. I reckon that had been in a smoker's house. This one, there are still some marks on it that I can't really get off with just washing up liquid. So I think that one's probably going to be the best one. I'll probably just get another quick clean, but put it up there to dry. This one I might stick in the dishwasher and see how that brings it up, but we'll see. I'm too lazy to go out to the car to get the correct part, the correct screwdriver, so we'll struggle doing it the wrong way. Now what I'm doing in addition is, considering this is metal cased, I'm not overly happy with the earthing situation. So I'm adding an earth. So what I've done here, there was, you can't really see it, but there's a plug on here, a 3.5mm jack plug here, where you can plug an earth in to go to the amp like you do on some turntables. So I've earthed that to this bracket here, which is in turn at this end earthed to this, which is also then earthed to what is now a 3-wire twin and earth mains lead, whereas before it was only a twin. So the whole thing is now earthed, which I'm just happier about, with it being a metal case and it being, what, 60, 70 years old. So that is now all done. So what we need to do now is feed this through here, which may be easier said than done, because this is obviously now considerably larger than what was going through there. But it's going. It's tight, but it's going. So we'll feed this through and we'll come back. Obviously leaving some slack in there. So we'll sort that out in a minute. What we need to do now So now here we go, we have plugs on the end of here for the audio. We have a new 3-core mains lead and it's now fully earthed. So let's put it back together. And as I said, I've left enough slack everywhere to get this top on and off, which we didn't have before. So yeah, right, so I'll be back with you once I've screwed it all back together and put that grommet in place. So we are connected thusly, we are plugged in. Let's move the soldering line out of the way. Put that on there. And we want what do we want? We want external, the aux. There, turn it on. It's a good start. Play. And it works! I have no idea if this is copyright material or not, but it's not very loud. I wonder if perhaps it needs to go in the same as a phono, which would make sense with how it works with the stylus, because this is full volume on my amp. So I reckon really it needs to be in with the phono input. But it works. Obviously it's all in German because this was only officially sold in Germany, I believe, but it's working. Und dass immer bei den Damen gern gesehen ist, was kann der Siegesmund dafür? Now this is what all TEFIs have at the end. And that is now just in a continuous loop. It will just keep doing that until the end of time. Or at least till the power runs out. Or you do that. So it works. So all I've got to do now is just wire it into the stereo properly. Cool. So it's now connected up properly, so turn it on. We're now connected up to the phono amp, so if I turn this off, that up there.
But I
that's the record player. So if we now turn this on, and there we go.
Wenn ich nicht selber bin dabei, bricht mir das Herz entzwei. Weil ich bin nicht meiner Seele, aber Zutrauen ich versteh. Zutrauen kann so be. Wunderbar sein, von dir geliebt zu werden, denn meine Liebe, die ist dein, solange ich lebe auf Erden. Ich kann nicht schwören aus dem Leben.
And here is that sound. And that will now just sit on a continuous loop. But it's all working, so it just needs a good clean up now, and it's done. So, as always, thank you for watching. Please like, share and subscribe. And that has been the 1955-ish TEFIFON from Germany. And hopefully I'll see you in a future video very soon, which could be on pretty much anything in the pile over there that you can't see. Ta-da!